Good afternoon. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to DylanTalksTone. Welcome to the Just Gonna Say It podcast. It's Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. when we talk about guitar stuff. Today, we're going to talk about something I've been thinking about, the law of diminishing returns as it applies to guitars. Or does it? Or does it? I think it does, but then it doesn't. So we'll get into that, and we'll talk about why here in just a couple of minutes. Before we get started on all that stuff, a couple things I want to get out of the way. You can ask a question about guitar stuff in the chat right over here, wherever it is. It's over here, right? We'll get to it today. You can use a super chat if you like. You can go to DylanTalksTone by scanning that thing right there. And you can buy parts and pickups and guitar stuff, which is pretty cool. There's a couple of still things left in the 40% off last chance Black Friday section thing. It's pretty neat. There's also a thing that we kind of want to blow up is scan the code right here and then go to the page, and you'll see where to submit your rig for our kind of submit your rig contest that we're going to start this month, which will be this coming Thursday. On our live stream on Thursday nights, we're going to pick one new submission every week, and then once a month we are going to give away something to a winner of the coolest picture of their rig. It doesn't have to be the most expensive, doesn't have to be the coolest gear, it has to be the coolest picture. And the cool, like make it cool. Like even if you don't think your gear's that cool, then make it cool. And we'll talk about it. It'd be cool. It'd be fun. So we're going to do that. Let's see. Black Friday week, Cyber Monday was obviously insane around here. So we did not get to upload our podcasts last week because we had those days off. Except for managing the website and stuff, which was pretty insane. If you ordered during the Black Friday madness, please know that we are busting our tails. We got, I think, 32 pickups ready to ship today. And so those will be going out tomorrow. And then we've got probably that many more the next day, that many more the next day. We're working really hard. I'm hoping that just about everything that was ordered last week should ship this week or next week, which is amazing because for as busy as we are, I think we're still going to be able to stay within our 2 week. We're trying to keep it to 2 weeks with shipping stuff. So unless something, there's something weird, but anyway, so there you go. There's that. I've got one of those big jumbo mailboxes, like the big dumb ones, because we ship so much stuff out. So I fill that mailbox up, every day. We filled it up twice today. They actually came in an early mail run at like 8:00 this morning and took a pile of stuff. And then we filled it up again, and they came at 11 and they emptied it again. So we're cranking around here. It's super fun. We've been having a lot of fun working, and yeah. So let's discuss diminishing returns. So let's talk about what the definition of the law. Well, it's not the definition. It's just the law of diminishing returns. There's a bunch of different ways to say it. Okay. Let's talk about how people think of it with guitar stuff. Basically, you buy an expensive guitar and it's not that much better than a cheap guitar, right? There's the just as good as concept. That's where that comes from, because you buy a very expensive guitar and it's not as good as a cheap one. Or, it's just a little bit better for what it's not worth the delta between the two in price, right? That's the lazy way to explain it, or that's the way a lot of us, I think that's the way most of us think about it. Because that's kind of the way the law of diminishing returns is, but there's some more positive to this than negative. And so that's what I want to get into today. So the law of diminishing returns is a principle stating that profits or benefits gained from something will represent a proportionately smaller gain as more money or energy is invested in it. Okay? So you could simplify that by saying the more you spend, once you get up to this certain point, it's not that much better than the thing below it. That's the simplified version. But there's some very key things, and I looked up a bunch of stuff about this and read, about it and kind of the psychology behind it. And this idea that the proportionately smaller gain, as more money or energy is invested in it. Okay. There's some key words mean things, and there are some key words in this process. And so, or this concept. So I want to know from you, not a price point. So this doesn't really have anything to do with, it will have something to do with money, I guess. But when you buy a guitar, okay, and I want you to think about your guitars that you have, not guitars. So let's put it in two different categories: guitars that you have and guitars that you're kind of dreaming of, like dream a little bit. What is the next one that I want? Maybe I'm saving up for, maybe pie in the sky. It took me 20 years to get a D28. You know what I mean? Like pie in the sky. It took me that long to get a custom shop Gibson, right? Like it took me forever, right? So, and of course you'll see the comment section constantly ridiculing me for spending the money on that guitar because it's very simple. So here's where the people's differing views of the law of diminishing returns comes in. So, of course, this is going to mean different things to different people. So the budget, as in, not budget as in low price, but the maximum allowable by our brains or by our pocketbooks, those are two different things. Amount of money that we would spend on a guitar varies for everybody. So we can throw that out as an absolute because it's different for everyone. So what is your... When you think about the guitars that you have and your pie in the sky guitar, right? That you're dreaming of, what gains do you expect to get by having that guitar that you're dreaming of? Because I know you're dreaming of one. I know there's a guitar that you want in the future. We all kind of look at that stuff. Or is the thing that you have just good enough? Like you don't need any more than what you have. I'm curious because people think about this all differently. And this is literally a curiosity. I have no opinion about it. None at all. Because I was thinking about, I put a Harley Benton and a custom shop Gibson in the thumbnail. And we were talking about this. Leslie and I were talking about this last night, and she said, if you take your opinion out of this, any of it, right, and just look at where everybody is and what they're using their guitars for, and all the different purposes, and try to think about that, right? And let me tell you where it came from. I've been going down the whole watch rabbit hole lately, and there's a really good watch YouTube channel, and it's a guy like me where he has a retail space and he sells watches, and then he has a YouTube channel and he talks about them. And one of the things he was talking about was Casio, right? Casio's got a $20 watch and they've got $5,000 Casio G-Shocks, you know what I mean? And in his mind, it doesn't matter, right? It just doesn't matter. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I think too. It just doesn't matter. So whether you want a Firefly or a Harley Benton doesn't matter to me. I think that's cool. I want everybody to think about the potential that is in that guitar to make music. So this is why I'm thinking about this. Like, what are you dreaming of? Let's see. I have guitars that range from $400 to $7,000. Each of them has the same four things going for it. Oh, I'm excited about this. Okay. 1, they feel good to play. 2, they offer something unique. And 3, they all inspire me. Okay, so that's 4, or that's 3. So maybe he didn't get the fourth one in there yet. Oh, he has 3 instead of 4. Okay, so you know what? I think that's all that matters, right? Isn't that cool? Yes, I think that's all that matters. I just really been thinking about this a lot, like. And here, I'll tell you why. And every space does have its working range of budget, right? You know, every hobby, right? So you can start with a $200 guitar and you can go up to $7,000, right? Actually, on Black Friday, you could get a Fender Squire debut for $114 or something. It's ridiculous. And so everybody finds themselves at a different place. What are you looking for? What are you looking for when you level up, when you dream? Maybe you didn't level up yet. Maybe you dream. If you think someday it would be neat, maybe it's not even realistic. Who cares? Let's not even think about realism. Let's just think about dreaming. Wouldn't it be cool to have a Gibson custom shop or a Fender custom shop guitar? I want a Fender custom shop Strat really bad. I just haven't been able to do it, Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be really cool. What would I expect to gain by spending that much money? That's a question, and that's different for everybody, right? What they expect to gain by spending the money, by upgrading, by getting something cool, what do they expect to gain? That's what I want to know from you. What do you think about all of this? I think it's really an interesting subject. So let me scan through here really quick. What I have is good enough. The guitars and amps I aspire to own one day are mostly I want them, not I need them. Okay, well, let's get this out of the way right now. All of this is wants. Nobody needs a guitar. Nobody needs one. And you could say, okay, let's put this we always put this little thing in the side, over on the side here. Okay, we're going to put this to the side. We'll just talk about it for a second. I know that there's a lot of folks that use it for, really it's instrumental to their mental health. I get that, right? Like I understand that. My dad is one of those people. He's a Vietnam vet. He's, been through a lot of things. And one of the things that honestly keeps him sane is playing music. And actually helping, he was doing this thing where he was actually working with groups of other veterans to play music too. So that stuff's very, very important. So I get that. So we can set that in, but for most of us, for most everybody, we don't need this stuff. Most of us don't play for a living. Most people that play guitar don't play for money. We don't need it at all. We could all do with a Harley Benton. All of us. We could probably all have a $200 guitar and be just fine. I'm sure all of us would just be good enough to have, whatever. So this is, all of these are wants, right? The excuse I use to get additional guitars is that I've learned a new tuning and I need to set up a guitar in that tuning. Hey, that's good. I dig that a lot. Honey, you don't want me to get left out of jam night, do you? See? Yeah. I love it. That's awesome. As a last resort, you can threaten to buy a bunch of harmonicas. I'll one-up you on that. If you tell your family that you're interested in either accordion or bagpipe, they'll probably be okay with a guitar. Also, if money is a problem, tell them that you want to play either saxophone, violin, or any other instrument besides guitar. Because we take for granted that we can get a guitar for $500. Have you priced out a pro level saxophone lately? Have you priced out a piano lately? Not to mention the fact that you have to make sure that your floor can hold it up. I think that's the other thing. I think we take for granted the fact that we can get a guitar for $400. I bought a new guitar this morning, actually, by the way. I'm very excited. It'll come in a couple of days. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And I think that it's going to fall right in this category of huge upside for the amount of money that it costs. And I'm really, really excited about it. It is not an expensive guitar. It does not have 4 digits. In fact, it has about half that. So that's really, really cool. I think I paid $500 something for it. So that's really, really cool. I'm really excited about it. And I'm excited about it too, because this guitar falls in this whole law of diminishing returns thing. So I'm curious, what do you expect if you were to spend more money on something on a guitar? What would you expect out of it? Let me just ask you that. Yeah, drums. Yeah, we had one drummer in our family. We had a drummer in our family, a piano player in our family, and 2 guitar players. And yeah, it was not a cheap endeavor. I tell people that I could collect Corvettes instead of guitars. Yeah, absolutely, dude. For real. I've been going down this whole watch rabbit hole. Holy crap. I mean, I've been down it for a long time, but I've kind of been taking it more seriously lately. I've been a watch guy for a long time, but I've been taking it more seriously lately. Let's just say that Les Paul standard money is where you go to be just to get started. So, yeah. Google the cost of a pro level oboe. You know what? We're going to do that right now. Let's do it. Pro level oboe. Well, you know what? There's a Sweetwater link in the description. Holy smokes, dude. So if I just look on Sweetwater, the cheapest one, okay. Holy crap, dog. This stuff's expensive. Okay. So student oboe, $22.39. The next level up is $31. The next level up is $4. The next level up is $5. Now, these do not go up in increments of $250 or $500, $400 like a Strat does. These go up in increments of 1,000 at a time up until 5,000. And then they start to get a little closer together. So now we're 52, 54, 67, 71, 74, $14,189. Starting student level, they call it the debut. Isn't that funny? We were just talking about the debut Strat. $22.39. And that is a pro level Telecaster or Stratocaster. You can get an American Vintage 2 for that, or an American Pro 2 for right around that same money. Holy smokes. One of the things I want to talk about this law of diminishing returns thing, because a lot of people will say, well, the more you spend on a guitar, the less you're going to get out of it. You're not going to get as much out of it. But the interesting thing, and I was thinking about this, the interesting thing about this is, let me go back to this definition real quick. Wow, that you got me on the oboe deal. That's pretty nuts. So diminishing returns, people think of this graph, right, that goes up and then goes down. The diminishing returns is not on the downside. It's still on the upside. There's still upside. Now, it's not as steep. The curve's not as steep at the top. It's steep at the bottom, and then it kind of flattens out as it gets to the top, but it's still a gain. And one of the things I want to talk about this phrase is present a proportionally smaller gain as more money or energy is invested in it. Now, the cool part and the positive thing about musical instruments in general, and this is not just guitars, this is everything. The $14,000 one is the Petrucci model. Exactly. My car is 2 pro oboes, dude. Right. So, the thing about that definition And the thing about musical instruments is, as more effort gets put into the instrument, the more gains you get. So a lot of people say the more effort you put into it, the less gain you get, right? But it's not like sports, okay? So sports and racing and all this kind of stuff, speed. When we used to do the Bonneville Salt Flats stuff, right? And so it's very easy to go 100 miles an hour. It's harder to go, and there's math for this. Like, it's proportionately way harder. You need proportionately more horsepower and et cetera, the higher you go. So it's like on a dirt, we were doing it on a dirt bike. So it's easy to go 100 miles an hour. It's hard to go 110 miles an hour. It's really hard to go 115. And then after that, you're like 115 and then 118. And then you try something and then you go to 116. And then you try something and you go to 119. Next thing you know, you're 40 grand in this thing and you're going 121, right? Like, it's bonkers. It's like that with a lot of stuff. That's what we're talking about, the law of diminishing returns. It's easy at the bottom and it's hard at the top. And it's little tiny gains. But the cool part about musical instruments is the more effort you put into it, the more you gain. Because the more you enjoy it, the more you can share it with others. The more, and here's an interesting one. As the guitar gets more expensive, the details get smaller, right? We know that. So you take a custom shop Gibson versus a regular one, like a regular one, and then you put it next to an Epiphone, and someone who has not put the effort into the instrument may not see all of the gains. They may not appreciate all of the gains. Someone who has put more effort into it may see the gains between the Epiphone and the Gibson, right? Someone who has put more effort yet and learned more and gotten nerdier, basically, can then see the gains between the Gibson and the custom shop one, right? And then appreciate things differently. And I'm not saying that this is a tier thing, like one person is better than the other, but they will appreciate different things based on the amount of effort and the type of effort that they put into it. And it could just be money. They could just be like, you know what? I just like the cool thing. I'm just going to buy the expensive thing and hang it on my wall. It's totally fine. I love that. I was talking to one of my buddies who, actually, I was talking to Carlos from Castadosa Guitars. He sells these like $12,000 custom guitars, right? And his guitars are art. They're beautiful. But, professionals play them. And he said, I don't care. He said, the people talk about lawyers and stuff who just buy guitars because they think they're cool and they're not really good at it. He's like, honestly, none of us are really good at it. The majority of us are not really good at it. He's like, nobody's actually really good at it. There's a few people at the top. So you got your Van Halen and you got your, those guys. Those guys are good at it. They make a living. They're good at it. None of us are. He's like, so the majority of people aren't actually that good at it. He's like, so if you buy one of my $12,000 guitars and you hang it on your wall because it's a piece of art, I don't care. I think that's awesome. He's like, you're appreciating it for a different reason. Doesn't matter. It's the same piece. It's the same art piece. Whether you're making art or looking at it as art, it's the same thing. He's like, I don't care. He's like, there'll be people that'll be snobby about that who will just be like, oh, they're not good enough for it, or they're not, I don't know, these lawyers buy these guitars and blah, blah, blah. I see it all the time in the comments. And he's like, nah, man. He's like, I don't care. He's like, buy it. Hang it on your wall. Appreciate it in whatever way you want to appreciate it. He's like, burn it for all I care. I just want you to appreciate it the way you appreciate it. And he's like, I can't tell somebody else that. And I'm like, that's really cool. I really like that idea. I think that's really neat. Let's see. What's up? It is true that most of us are not that good at it. You know what? But we don't care. I don't care. People give me crap all the time for not being a good guitar player, even though this is what I do for a living. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't bother me at all when people say, you suck. You need to get, It does present some limitations. I wish I was really, really good so that I could show off my wares better. That is a thing. But I'm not personally like damaged by anybody saying I'm not that good of a guitar player, because you're not either, you know. And you might be better than me, but somebody's better than you. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of an equalizer. Like I don't really care. That's the way I think about it. I just think that, but the more effort we put into it, the more fun we have. And so to me, we can push the law of diminishing returns. So if you are worried that you're not going to appreciate a guitar, or that, first of all, worry about yourself. Don't worry about anybody else. You know, don't be one of those goofy guys who gets on the internet and it's like, that person doesn't deserve that guitar because they're not that good. Yeah, don't be that guy. You know, that he's just a moron. But for us who are like thinking about trying to be better people ourselves, we can push the law of diminishing returns. That curve is not fixed. We can push it, and we can actually steepen it. We can actually take that flat and steepen it by putting more effort into it, and by learning more about it, and by being nerdier about it, and by just enjoying it more. You know, and the thing is that, and I'm not, you know, encouraging people to just go, you know what, you should just go buy a $10,000 guitar, because most of us can't. I can't. So, you know, it's not about the expense of the thing. It's about the appreciation of the thing. And the more we appreciate what we have and what we're playing and learning about it and nerding about it, whether it's a Harley Benton, a Firefly, a Squire, a Epiphone, or whatever, let each of those guitars live on their own. Don't compare them to anything else. Appreciate what we can appreciate about them. And then go, okay, here's where I am on my curve. If I did this, would I notice the difference? I don't know. All right, well then if you don't know, and if you don't think so, don't spend the money. Just play the entry-level guitar that you have. Don't worry about it. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Maybe do an upgrade to it. Maybe buy some pickups for it. Maybe try some different picks. Try some different strings. You know, we're doing that string not contest, but just like a kind of a string shootout thing. I want to get really nerdy with that. That's going to be really fun. The first set goes on tomorrow, and then next Wednesday will be the first video for that, which will be super cool. I don't know what strings I'm going to put on it first. I might put the elixirs on first and get it over with, because I hate them things. But maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm trying to go at it as kind of as open-minded as possible, even though I have a weird idea about those. Guitars are like specs on cars. Just because we can't reach their limits doesn't mean we can't enjoy and appreciate the quality of the equipment. You know, dude, that's a fair point, and I'm glad you brought that up, because you know, a lot of folks will, you know, speak negatively about expensive guitars, right? But they'll drive an expensive car or have an expensive watch, or, you know, just because it's cool. My brother actually called me the other day. This is kind of funny. So he called me the other day, and he's one of these, he likes to buy like 8-year-old cool European cars or cool Japanese cars. That's the kind of his thing. And so he's looking at an AMG right now, an AMG Mercedes. And he was telling me about this AMG 550, or this AMG, I think it's a C63 or I don't remember what. It's one of the SUV ones. Anyway, so because he wants SUV, fast SUV. And I've got a fast SUV, and so we were talking about it. So he was talking about this AMG, and he's like, it's really, really cool. And he's like, but if I get this blah, blah, blah 550, I can't remember the model number anyway. I'm not a Mercedes guy. It's the same motor. It's just tuned a little different, but the seats are better in this one, and the suspension, blah, blah, blah. Cost of ownership is way different because, you know, the brakes are way more expensive on the AMG and stuff. And it really came down to, instead of being snobby about it, or instead of being like, oh, I wish I could, it was like, I don't know, which seats do you like better? Which one do you think is cooler? You know, like, um, instead of really overthinking it, like, they're priced similarly. This one's like 5 grand more than that one. And these are the benefit. Like, which one do you think is cooler? It's near as makes no difference. The same thing. Like, and maybe one's better than the other, but which one do you think is cooler? I'd love to have that one, but I hate that color. So I just don't want to look at it in my driveway. Well, there you go. You know what I mean? And I think we should be more like that about guitars. We should look at everything and just be like, I think it's cool. I don't think it's cool. Whatever. I'm really trying to, and to be honest with you, today when I bought this guitar, I'll tell you, I had three or four different choices I was looking at to kind of get me in the same ballpark of instrument, and the price delta between the two was about $400. Okay, so between the three or four prices was about $400 from like $379 to like $800. So I guess about $500. This is like a delta between there. And I can afford all of them. So it doesn't, not all of them, but I'm one of any of that price point. So the money doesn't matter. So it was literally like, okay, instead of being a spec nerd and like, is this one just as good as that one and blah, 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 which one do I want? And so I talked to Brianna about it, and she doesn't even play guitar. And we talked about it, and we're like, well, this is the pickup combination that we want. And it would be cool to have this color because then we could do this, this, and this, and this. And then I kind of want a rosewood fretboard. So those ones don't come in a rosewood fretboard. Okay, well, then let's just get this one. And it ended up being cheaper than the other one I was looking at. A little bit more expensive than the other ones I was looking at, kind of dead in the middle. Boom, there you go. Instead of like, well, what nut height is it and what, like all this stuff. And hey, let me get on the forums and see if this is just as good as that one. And because that one's more, but this one, whatever. I'm like, I'm just going to get it. See what happens, because it's cool, because the color combination. That's really why I bought it. Because of the color combination. Let's see. Jonathan says, I have 14 guitars and one of my Squier Classic Strat that I upgraded with premium electronics, and it is one of the best playing machines I own. Dude, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. Those things are legit, man. Anything from, and in my opinion, after looking at all this stuff lately, what they've been doing with the various lines, I don't think you can go wrong with any of the Squier stuff. Any of them. I would say the debut and the Sonic, whatever the lowest one is. Here's what I'd say. The debut thing that you can get on Amazon, get that for a gift for somebody. Because it's like $150. Even at full price, it's like $150. To me, that's the gift. Like, you're like, you know what? I want my nephew to play guitar. I'm going to buy him a Strat, right? Looks like a Strat, says it's a Strat, and it's $150. I think for the nerds among us who are going to like cut stuff up and play around with stuff, and hey, I wonder what would happen if I put this pickup in there and that kind of thing, that Sonic stuff is legit, man. To have a humbucker and a Strat, like a single humbucker and a Strat, or a single humbucker and a Tele for, what are they, $350? That's really cool. A whole guitar that does that for that, and then you can use it for whatever you want. You don't have to feel bad about swapping parts out. You don't have to feel bad about experimenting. You don't have to feel bad about I was saying the other day that Squier debut thing for $115 on Black Friday sale. I don't know if they still cost that, but they're $150. Buy one of those just to learn how to work on guitars because it's cheaper than a neck. So you could literally buy that guitar and then learn how to do like your fret crowning and your leveling and all that kind of stuff with no guilt whatsoever because you bought a whole guitar for the price of a neck. I think that's awesome. Yeah, that's really, really cool. And then the affinity stuff, the affinity stuff used to be just like that used to be kind of the throwaway thing, but those are actually really nice. And they come in a bunch of different stuff now. That's the sort of the lowest. So I bought a Fender thing today. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I was looking at that stuff, and the Affinity thing, they come in a bunch of different pickup combinations now. They're not just a basic bottom of the barrel guitar anymore. They got some features to them. Yeah, they cost a little more, but everything costs a little more. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think all of that stuff. I think starting with the Affinity on up, for any of us that want to make a nice guitar out of it, I think that's legit. I think they are all great. And I also think that that Sonic stuff, even though it's really, really cheap, is a great modding. Like I said, no guilt, cut it up, put a crazy pickguard on it, spray paint it, put stickers on it, punk rock. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of what it's for, if that makes sense. I love it. I think it's great. And then what happens is, then the law of diminishing returns doesn't matter anymore because you made it yours, and it doesn't matter. Once the guitar is yours, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter how much it costs. Once you have it, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. I choose pick colors so I can see them against the floor. Hey, that's pretty, yeah, I dig that. Let's see. I have too many guitars. Dude, me too. I was literally I was literally trying to find a place to put stuff yesterday because we had too many. I enjoy my Fender, but I like my slim taper SG neck way more. Yeah, man. I just hate the 490 and 498s. Put a set of our DAFs in there and you will really, really like them. If you want them to be a little hotter, get a set of our Super 8s. They're wound the same, so they're wound like DAFs, but they have Alnico 8 magnets in them, and they're amazing. That might be one of my favorite pickups, actually, ever. But yeah, that's what I would do. The two things I like to upgrade with the guitar are Dylan pickups and Graphtec ratio tuners. I need to get a set of those. We put a set of those on. I did that for you, actually, on one of your guitars, and I need to do that. I need to get a set of those. Graphtec bugs me all the time about stuff. I should call them. I'm in the market for a Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul Gold Top P90. I'm undecided between an R4 or an R6. More people seem to lean towards the R4 due to the wrap tail bridge. Okay. So what are you going to use the guitar for? That's the question. If you're going to actually use it, don't get the R4. If you're going to hang it on the wall and play it sometimes, and it's going to be like okay. I have certain things, okay, that are for the history of it, right? Like I got a Italian switchblade over there. I never use it. It's very cool, but it's sort of impractical, okay? But it's so cool that I had to have it. That is to me, and you may feel differently. That is an R4. I have a buddy who has one, and he let me borrow it for a little while, and it is an incredible guitar. But it's not, if you're going to play all the time, if you're going to gig at all, I don't know if you'd gig a custom shop guitar. If you're going to play it a lot and really want to play it, like enjoy it and have it be in your rotation, I personally would get the stop tail guitar. If you're like, look, man, I'm trying to fill holes in my collection because I want this thing to fit this vibe, then get the R4. That's what I would say. And there's no wrong answer to that. I do the same thing. I've got guitars that I bought because I want to have the complete collection, if that makes sense. And if you don't have one of those in your collection and you want one, get it because it's very cool. Very, very cool. It's just, to me, it's just not as much of an everyday guitar, if that makes sense. Yeah. I ordered a custom made to measure Gibson Explorer Custom, And one of the changes I made was swapping out for the 490 and 498s. I hate those too. Yeah, they're okay. They're okay. Yep. You replaced your 490s with center punches. Okay, that makes sense. They're real MIDI, so that would make sense. The question is, why are we doing mods and upgrades to sound better in our bedroom or for gigging? The question is, at what point does modding become silly? What is our objective? It's never silly. It's never silly. If you want to do it, it's not silly. I think, so I understand what you're saying, but I think it's never silly. I think that the whole idea, so this channel is called Dylan Talks Tone, right? So we're supposed to talk about tone all the time. But here's what I think. This is I'm just going to give you my opinion. I think we worry about tone way too much. I think that there are definite gains for the sake of tone itself. Okay. I make pickups. I play guitar. I make stuff better for fun. I make the stuff that I make. I make the best P90 in the world because it's cool. Because it's fun to make you smile. I don't do it because there is some technical thing that needs to be improved to make better tone so that somebody can have the best tone. I don't do that. I don't do anything for that reason. I don't do anything for the tone in the sense of that word that everybody uses. I don't do anything for that. What I do is I give you something, sell you something that you put in your guitar and it makes you smile. That's what I do. That's what I care about. And so when we reduce this to, well, that doesn't have anything to do with the tone, then you are the person, not you, whoever said that, not you, because you didn't say this, but the people that say this, in my opinion, who say, well, that has nothing to do with the tone. So you're just sucking the fun out of the room, right? And maybe for you, that's important because of what you're doing. So I don't want to say that that's wrong because it's not wrong. You feel however you want. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be the person that's like, well, it's just about the tone. And, you know, the fact that it has binding on it and it costs $500 more because of that. And it's only for looks, you know, that may be important to you, but it's not to me. I just want to have fun. And we do all this for fun. And so when you look at the, I don't think that there should be any judgment on anybody on their objective for their guitar. I just don't think there should. You know, I think you should just have fun. Yeah. I have the 70s Deluxe Gold top, which is routed perfectly for a P90 to be dropped in. I'd get one of those before getting an R4. Yeah, I would say that. The Deluxe is a tough one, man. I know. The Deluxe is a tough one for me. Let's see. Getting a solid gold paint job on a custom shop guitar isn't worth it, in my opinion. Not okay. I disagree because I was about to say my dream custom shop guitar is a Murphy Lab 57, gold top 57, and I want it beat to hell. I want all the cracks. I want all the thing. I'll tell you why in a minute. Let's take this super chat. Good day, Toners. Finally made it. He's from Australia. That's why he sounds like that. Thank you, Tim, for coming and hanging out with us. My buddy has a 1982. It's like one of the first Gibson custom shop came out of, and it was not relic or anything. There was no Murphy Lab back then, but he has played it for 40 years and it's beat up. And it is like my dream guitar. Not any guitar, that guitar. I always tell him, I'm like, man, how can I get in your will? Because I want that guitar. I don't know if he's going to live longer than me, but yeah. I want a Murphy Lab 57 gold top. That is, that's the move. You're probably saying that you think painting a Les Paul from the custom shop is not cool because you're a fancy wood guy, which a lot of folks are. I'm not really a fancy wood guy. I get that because you probably want like the super cool top and everything. And that's kind of, I get that a lot because a lot of people really like that. And that's not my jam though. The smallest change in tone can be light years apart in the feel, and that's what makes you play different and be inspired by the instrument. Yeah, no, that's true. That is true. I get that. And so that's why we seek for it. I think, but there should be no object to that. There should be no objection to it. There should be no, you shouldn't do this to that guitar. People that say, you buy a Squire, like one of them Sonic things for $200, and then you come to me and spend $400 on pickups. Do it. It's worth it. It is worth it because you're doing exactly what you just said. You're inspiring yourself to play the guitar. I think it's great. Yeah, I think it's awesome. Super fun. Looks are important. I agree, man. I agree. I don't chase tone because I'm looking for a specific one. I chase tones that I've never heard before because I just want to hear every single one that is possible to make with a guitar. That's what I say. I'm always curious. You guys that have followed me for a long time and gals have followed me for a long time probably know this, but some of you may not. That when I'm not listening, when I'm not doing guitar stuff, like when I'm in the car by myself, I'm listening to electronic music. Actually, I'm a huge electronica fan. So a lot of ambient stuff, a lot of I used to have. In fact, I was just shopping the other day. I was like, man, if there's any Black Friday deals on turntables, I might get a set of turntables again. But there wasn't anything good enough. So I didn't get a set of turntables. I don't really have a place to put them either. But I really, 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 really love that stuff. I love live DJ stuff. I love all the things that guitar people make fun of, going to see a laptop concert. They just don't know what they're talking about. It's okay. I get it. But I love that stuff. And I love making that music. And I just love the creativity that comes with it. It's super fun. But the way this relates to that comment is I've always felt that it'd be really, really cool. And there are some bands out there that do it. But to make all that electronic music, but explore all those with stringed instruments. And I just think that'd be super fun. So my brain always goes to that. Tone chasing is one of the best parts of this hobby. No, I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. 100%. Yeah, I don't want to make you think that I don't like that, because obviously that's what we do. We make pickups. But it's for fun. We're playing guitar, right? So it's for fun. And sometimes Robbie has a good point here. There's some gear that has made night and day differences. Yes, dude. And that is, including some of our pickups. That's the thing. Sometimes a guitar just doesn't work. Sometimes the thing is just a dead fish in your hands. You put a set of pickups in it and you're like, holy smokes, it's a whole new thing, right? Like that happens. But to me, that's not chasing a tone. That's just, again, having fun. Runway audio instrument cable. Yeah, that too. I always tell people that I liken that to those runway audio cables are so good. I liken that to having saran wrap wrapped around your amp and then you take it off. It's just, there's just something that's just there that just wasn't. You definitely should try one. Link in the description. I think there's a discount code down there too, and we have an exclusive one. Yeah. So the more effort you put into this, the more you appreciate details. So don't be discouraged by folks who, who have made the decision for themselves not to, get a better guitar or do whatever. That's okay. They can do that. But don't be discouraged by that. Go find something cool. Go get something cool. Go You know, give me just slabs of mahogany or give me death. Ha! You must be a Gibson fella. I get that. I got some slabs of mahogany around here. Try a Rega Planer 1 turntable. Oh, I don't mean like for listening to records. I mean for scratching and doing DJ stuff. Awesome. You guys, this has been super fun. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We got a video coming out tomorrow. And of course, we got one coming out on Thursday. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you later this week.